like not wearing a lot of makeup today. Let's see, I don't like this lighting. It's okay. It's a little dark in here, but that's all right, right? Whatever. You guys, you love me anyway. Actually, I didn't even move. Let's see if I should move somewhere. I don't know. You guys probably don't care, right? Um, this is gonna be a quick live, but there's just some of you guys asked me for my engagement story, and I was like, okay, I'll tell you guys. It's very simple. It's very, like, it wasn't anything grandiose. I hate to break it to you, which I didn't mind. You know, I'm not someone at this stage in my life who, like, needed something big. I wanted something sincere. And so, yeah, let me just log onto YouTube really quickly and make sure that you guys can hear me and see me. Let's see. Okay, let's see. There we go. Yay! Okay, so I just want to tell you guys just a quick engagement story, and then I want to talk about like Christian dating and how like red pill like weirdness is infiltrating the church. like like unnecessarily so, to be honest. It's so bizarre. And how it doesn't even align. That's neither here nor there, I guess. So anyway, yeah, so I started dating my fiance. Sorry. Dating my fiance. Okay. So I started dating my fiance in October, and we didn't meet in person for 2 weeks just because our schedules didn't align, but we talked about almost every day for like a few hours. And I know some people are like against that, but we really wanted to make sure that we were compatible. And I will say that when a man is like intentional about getting married, like the you know, all some of the games that you play are not really necessary. So I would basically go all day doing my own thing, and then he would call me at night when he was done with his day. And he's in real estate, so he was often running around from like, you know, house to house, you know, doing showings and things like that, on meetings, on calls. So we were both pretty busy during the day, but then he would call me at night and we would talk for a couple hours until it was time for me to go to bed. And then, and then, you know, whatever. So we met, and the first time we met, we just did like a regular standard like steakhouse dinner. And, you know, obviously he's a gentleman, so he, you know, took responsibility for all that. And he lives 50 minutes away. He did not ask me to come drive to him. In fact, he did not ask me to drive to him until about like 6 months in. He was like totally willing to come down and you know, and to just like, you know, be a man. So anyway, we dated about 3 months in. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna marry you. And I, you know, men, okay, we love men on this channel, so this is not an indictment on men, but I don't take people's words for value. I don't listen to people's words. I listen to their actions. So he was like, I'm gonna marry you. And I was like, by the way, you guys, I had committed to moving out of California before I met him. I was like, and I was just purely dating for fun. I was like, I'm dating for someone for marriage, but I'm dating not with the anticipation that I'm going to stay in California. So he was like, oh, I'm going to, you know, he's like, oh, you're the person I'm going to marry. And I was just like, that's really sweet. You know, thank you. That's so flattering. But I didn't really take it to heart because I've done my inner work, and I know that until someone does something and shows you, that words are very fleeting and stuff like that. And he continued to be very consistent. So he continued to, you know, check in. I didn't have to beg him for, you know, to talk to me. I didn't have to beg him to take me on dates. I didn't have to beg him to, you know, hear my feelings, or like, I just didn't have to beg for those things. And I was like, okay, this is a good sign. But he knew 3 months in. And I say that because I feel like a lot of women think they have to date a man for 2 years before he's like ready. And I'm like, dude, these men know almost immediately. They really, really know almost immediately if they want to get married. So, or if they're ready. So a lot of men will, if they're not ready, like if they're younger, they will date you for 2 years, even though they know, or 3 years, even if they know they want to marry you, because they know they're not ready. And that's a good thing. But you have to have that kind of time. We, in this corner, did not have that kind of time. So I was like, I don't, you can say that, but until you show me, I'm still on the first steaming locomotive out of California. Come August. And so that's just a little aside tangent. Like, these men, they be knowing, they know like almost immediately. And if they're ready, they will act on it. If they're not ready, doesn't mean they're a bad guy. They're just not ready. So we got to about May, which was my birthday. So October to May, we actually tried on wedding rings in January. So it was October 2022. We tried on rings in January when I went to Napa. He was like, I need to get your size and to see what looks good on your finger. And I was like, okay, like, this is fun and cute, and I had fun. But again, I still was like, I'll believe it when I see it. So we had tried on rings in January. And then, we kept dating and things like that. And he said, okay, I'm going to order your ring. And I was like, okay. Again, no, that's very sweet. Thank you so much. Oh, I can't wait to see what you choose, whatever, He wanted to propose in May, which was my birthday. So again, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, 7 months. He wanted to propose in May, but could not, because the ring was taking too long to be produced. There was like a diamond shortage or something. Or whatever, manufacturer shortage. So he could not propose in May when we were in Tahoe. That's when he wanted to propose. Again, these men know. They're not like, they're not women. They don't need to ruminate over like 50 million things before they actually make a decision. He knew. So we waited a couple months, and then he was like, oh, I need your dad's phone number. And I was like, okay, like, I knew that that's why he needed it. And he had met my parents before and everything. So he's like, I need your dad's phone number. So he met with my dad. He met with my mom. He met with my brothers. I have 2 brothers and then 2 brothers-in-laws. So he met with my dad, met with my mom, met with my 4 brothers. So 2, family, and then 2 in-law brothers. And then he came up on a Saturday to see me. And he's like, hey, let's go to the park. And I was like, okay. And he's like, let's take some photos, because he knows, for my fitness Instagram, I'm often like, just getting content. He's like, let's get some content. And because he's in real estate, he has like a tripod and a Ring camera, and because they do that for real estate now. They're taking photos of properties and things like that and sharing them. And so he was like, let's do some content for your Instagram, because I know you've been wanting to, and you have a day off and all this other stuff. So I was like, okay. So we went to this beautiful park, and he sets up the tripod, and he was like, he puts it on video. And I was like, this is on video. And he's like, yeah. We can just like screenshot, some pictures. And you guys, apparently people do this. I do not screenshot from videos. I do not screenshot from videos. I mean, it's weird. I'm like, just take the dang picture. So he's like, no, it's okay. We'll screenshot. I was like, okay, I trust you. I guess that's what we're doing. And so then he sets it up, and he starts to like do some posing and like, with me. It's like, oh, let's take some, some couple photos or whatever. And then he like gets down on one knee. I'll have to show you guys the video. I don't have it on my computer, otherwise I would. So yeah, that's how it happened. It was very sweet. It was very genuine. I was happy he caught it on camera, because that was something that I wanted. I did want it on camera. I didn't need necessarily a photographer, but I wanted it on camera. And so, yeah, that's how he proposed. It was very, very sweet. And then he actually had to go to, he's going to go watch the fight with his boys. And it was so cute, because that day, Jiffy Lube lost my keys, which is another story time. And I called him, and he was like, this is so crazy, because I was just telling your dad how like you're my responsibility now. Because normally if something like that happens, I call my dad, right? And he was like, no, like you're my responsibility now. Like you have, like I have to actually like take care of you. So if you need me to come back, I gotta come back. I can't go. He was like an hour away. I was like, it's okay. I'll call my sister to come get my keys for me. But it was really cute. Like in that same day, he was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually like I've claimed you. And this is a whole nother video topic, but what this goes to, that whole idea of like living with a guy and like we're doing this pseudo like marriage thing versus like when he puts a ring on your finger and claims you. Even his energy switched. He was like, oh, I'm like, you're my responsibility. When you're living with a man and maybe not necessarily like engaged or not, he doesn't feel that in his spirit. So it does change things. It does change things when you are actually like married or engaged. Like their brain chemistry switches. So anyway, that was a lot. But so I want to talk about really quickly this whole like red pill foolishness. I'm noticing that a lot of red pill content is infiltrating the church. And here's what I'm going to say about this. Unfortunately, the church doesn't teach healthy relationships. It just teaches relationships. So it's like, you know, get married. It's a sacrament. It's a command. It's a, you know, right? None of that's not untrue, right? Unfortunately, when you don't teach how to have relationships, the church is left looking to the world to do that, right? They're left looking to YouTube. So that's when people like Kevin Samuels and Derek Jackson infiltrate the church, both sides of the spectrum of just complete foolishness, right? And unfortunately, also, the red pill mentality pulls from scripture, because scripture says there's nothing new under the sun. So the submission conversation, the femininity conversation, it's all good, right? Like those are the things that God designed for our good. My problem is y'all got a bunch of non-Christians talking about Christian subjects as it relates to dating and relationships. Submission is not for people who don't understand the headship model. That's not for people who don't, that whole conversation, you shouldn't even be talking about that unless you submit to God as a man. And what I'm seeing is a lot of these red pill men are like openly and unashamedly disobedient to God, disrespectful to women, hateful, spiteful to women, and then going around and using a biblical term to talk about relationships. The Bible literally tells you that if you cannot support a woman, then you're worse than an infidel. So then why do you go around and say, I'm not taking care of a woman? Why would I do that? Okay, well, if we're talking about submission, which is God's thing, you need to do what God calls you to do if you're asking for if you're asking for women to do what God calls women to do. Like that's, you know, that's that. And that's on that. And so what I'm seeing is, unfortunately, the men in the church are like, yeah, women, you know, like reposting and co-signing this really devilish and demonic content from these people who do not love the Lord, who do not want to follow God's order of things, kings with no kingdom, as we call them, you know, but want women to be these submissive, you know, loving women when they can't be the godly, pure, respectable men that God has called them to be. And okay, Siri, stop. And so what's sad is that a lot of these Christians, because they don't have convictions around this, they're becoming also hateful, spiteful, demeaning towards women, because that's what's in a lot of the red pill content. It's not a love for God's creation. It's a hate for the kind of women that women have become. And even if, you know, the feminist movement has done damage, even if a lot of women are acting out of order, nowhere in the Bible does it call you to demean, degrade, and dismiss all women. Nowhere in the Bible does it call you to that. The other thing is if you're running into those kind of women, your energy is attracting that. And here we go with the Christians in the church. If you call yourself a Christian and you're attracting hood rattery, I'm gonna ask where your spirit's at. Because why are you attracting such hood rattery? You attract what you are. I don't attract hood rats. I don't. They stay far away from me. They are repelled. They are repelled and repulsed by me. Thank you, Lord. So if that's who you're coming in contact with, baby, that's who you are. I hate to be that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That's who you are. And so while a lot of Christians are, taking on these red pill talking points, unfortunately, then I have to call into question, what is your walk with God like? What is your relationship with the Lord like? Because if you're running into the kind of woman that the red pill condemns, that means that you are probably somewhere in your spirit, that's what you're attracting. So let's ask ourselves, because men who are confident, secure, healthy attract confident, secure, healthy women. That doesn't mean that women won't try to talk to them, but majority of the times they attract healthy, mature women. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go, you guys, so I got a call, but I'm gonna do a part 2 of this after I get off. A lot of people in the church, because the church is a place for the sick, it's not for the healthy. Like, you come to Jesus because you're sick. People have not dealt with that part of their life. They've not dealt with that. So they're taking on these toxic red pill talking points without asking, why am I attracting these kind of women? What's wrong? What's going on? And then we have these silly women, oh my gosh, I'll have to talk about it another day, who are co-signing this foolishness. Not understanding biblical concepts either. Not understanding the biblical concepts that God calls us to either. And so anyway, that was my little short video. I'm gonna hop on a call, you guys, and then I'll hop back on. There's no way I should have started. I thought, I'm gonna be able to get this done in 15 minutes. I'm lying. I'm gonna hop on and I'm gonna finish talking about this part 2 because I have a lot to say. But thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. Don't forget to like the video, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, bye.